So we put our compost bin in the middle of the chicken coop, so then the chickens can pick through it, and they can not only help compost it, but they get a little bit of nutrition. And then they take some of it off.
Here you go, chickens!
So
Can I hold one in here?
you can try to hold one. So we have 4 solar panels from Harbor Freight. They're 25 watts each. I'm actually going to take 2 of them off and put them on our gate openers, but so it'll be 50 watts, just enough to keep the battery charged. And people will be wondering what the battery's for, and we'll get there. It's just an 8-foot by 8-foot building, one angle, so easy roof. I just cut the notches there for the bird's mouths for the rafters there, and then laid them up on top of the walls, and it was pretty easy. So yeah, those are 4x4 posts and a 6x6 in the corner because it's what I had laying around. And then I built the floor out of scrap lumber, and it's just sitting on top of the ground. There's nothing's in the ground. It's just sitting on top of the ground, and it's actually secured to that tree right there. So there's several bolts on the one wall that are holding this building to the tree. So yeah.
So if the tree goes, the building goes?
Yeah, But I'm hoping that helps keep it from like sinking or anything. And then the ramp is built out of scrap lumber. Yeah.
It's a little messy because it was just
rain
working.
cover out of scrap lumber.
Yeah, a rain cover.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna get matching siding to our. Oh, can't see
yeah.
it. There's a shed building over there.
Yeah. So right now the roof's just felted, and that's it.
But it'll be a black tin roof to match the shed.
That's right. Yeah.
And then the same siding, so it'll be all matchy-matchy.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
So yeah, that's outside. I put a window in so the girls have a view. It's just a cheap piece of plexiglass that I literally just cut out the siding and screwed it into the studs on the wall. So I mean, I didn't even frame it in. I literally just screwed it to the studs. So that's screwed into the wall studs. I built this door for it. It's just a pretty basic 2x4 door with I put a little drip edge down here on the lip, and then now here's the key with chicken coops. See this board right here? So that board is so that we can keep a lot of pine shavings in here, like a lot. And then what that does for us is it allows us to only have to clean out this coop like maybe once or twice a year, which is really good. So yeah, and I guess then we just have to look inside.
So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, so 8 nesting boxes total. The feeder's just open at the top.
Okay, so in here we have a few things. I closed up the gaps at the rafters on this end, but I didn't really do this end up here. Those gaps were really big, and I was worried about the winds that come from down that way. And the birds are up here on these roosts, and I didn't want them to go put him down. He's tripping too loud. And I didn't want them to catch too much of a draft. Now here's the key. See these? These are 2x4s laid on their side. Lots of people think chickens want like a little narrow perch to like hold their arms, their little legs around. That's like your little finches and flying birds and stuff like that. Chickens like to lay their feet flat. And if you give them a nice flat bar like this to put their feet on, in the wintertime they'll sit down on top of their feet and then they won't get frostbite. But if you give them a perch that they have to wrap their toes around, sometimes the tips of their toes will get frostbite. Cool. So we have a battery up here, just a marine RV battery, solar charge controller, and then from Harbor Freight, and then that goes out to the panels. And then this controls the coop door. I could open it up, but there's just a timer in here that we set like when we want it to open and when we want it to close. And then that's the coop door that opens and closes. Watch out. Here. So that opens at I think 7:30 every morning and closes up at 8 o'clock every night. And then I built this to keep the chicks from running out right now while they're young. So they'll have to get big enough that they can actually hop out.
Because one escaped today.
One did escape today, yeah. And I may have to add a few more roosts after all these guys are grown out, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. So this isn't hooked up right now because it was using too much power and the solar wasn't good during the winter, so I turned it off. But this was a overwinter light, so this would come on in the evening after the sun went down at like 4 p.m. And it would stay on until like 11 o'clock at night, and then that way the girls would stay laying through the winter time. So that worked out pretty well for us. Yeah, and if I wanted to hook it back up, I just, there's a wire here, I could just hook it back up, and then, you know, I could turn that light on and off if I wanted to, but, yeah. So then the brooder we could talk about. So, light, and then a light on the other side. Yeah, you can see down in there. So the light on the other side is 150 watts. And the light on this side is 40 watts. And that's been keeping these chicks nice and warm. This is called an Ohio brooder. You'll notice that there's a gap underneath here, and it's super warm right here. Like just putting my hand here, it's like nice and toasty right in here. Okay? And then, and that's because there's a gap on top here also. And then this whole thing is filled with wood shavings.
Yeah, okay.
So this whole thing is filled with wood shavings on top, so it traps that heat in there. And then what you do is over time, you raise this up higher and higher and higher, maybe even decrease the wattage of your bulbs, and then the chicks naturally just get used to the environment. This also gives them a chance to like run in and out, you know, for food and water.
Well, and you've already raised it, because before it was super low.
Well, right now I have it raised up because I was feeding them. So I have this little latch right here, so I just put a cargo strap there. I put a nail in the rafter up here. And then that way when we want to, I just got to be careful you don't squish one, so you put it down nice and slow. But see, then we just set it down, and then when we want to get their water and food, we just lift it up and
Hey, there's one.
hook it.
It went out. Hello, little guy.
And then yeah, that extension cord is plugged into all
See
this,
my
and it runs
shoe?
over to the bus, and we power it with our off-grid battery bank. Barely, but we do. And then I built a square wall over there. Same on the other side. The other side is actually even simpler because I didn't have a door. So you can see there's not even an upper wall. It's just the rafter that's holding the upper wall. I only did that here because I wanted to put a door frame in here so that we could get in and out. So it's a person door. I like coops like this because you can get in here, stand up, and work on it and do stuff, and you're not like, you know, hunched over all leaning into a coop. So, yeah.
This is the outside to collect the eggs, and that just lifts up. Do you like our chicken coop? Yeah. What's your favorite part?
I don't really know. I think the part that I like the most is this part, because down here there's like this latch thing that you can unlatch and then lift this up.
Yeah. Your favorite part isn't the breakfast?
Oh, yeah. Breakfast. I do like
You feeding the ladies? So we have some Australorps and some Barred Rocks and some Americanas. And then our newest chickens, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong. Is it Brom? The big ones with the feathery feet. And then we got some more Australorps and some Cinnamon Queens and which one am I missing? Oh, Silver Lace. So we can't wait until those ones are big because they're super pretty. And that's our farm.
No. What's up? What's up? I'm gonna come in.
And that's our farm. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and stay tuned for more of our homestead. Bye-bye.